Welcome to Around the Weird. Here's your host, the museum curator of the strange and unusual, Mr. Nothing.
Thank you, mysterious voice, and welcome back to Around the Weird, a booktube channel where I talk about all the unusual and out of the ordinary literature that I have found in my travels. Today it is Poetry Thursday, so I wanted to talk about some poetry of interest from a familiar author. Today's poem is all about animal relationships. I am referring to Redbird Love by Joy Harjo. I've talked about Joy Harjo on this channel before, so I don't need to go into that great of detail. But she is an Indigenous American writer and musician. She's from the Muskogee Nation in Oklahoma. And she's written for quite some time, past 20 to 30 years, even longer than that. She plays the saxophone, I believe it is. I actually see her performed live. But she also writes poetry, and her poetry focuses on nature, as well as intensely personal experiences, some of which you see blended here in today's poem. I am a big fan of Joy Harjo. She's one of my favorite writers, especially when it comes to poetry. As you can see, I've talked about like 3 or 4 of her poems on this channel before. Very interesting and definitely worth seeking out. But without further ado, let's talk about Redbird Love. I will read it, do a little bit of analysis, and we will move on from there. Redbird Love. We watched her grow up. She was the urgent chirper, fledgling flyer, and when spring rolled out its green, she'd grown into the most noticeable bird girl. Long-legged and just the right amount of blush tipping her wings, crest and tail, and she knew it. In the bird parade. She watched her strut, she owned her stuff, the males perked their armor, greased their wings, and flew sky loop missions to show off for her. In the end, there was only one. Isn't that how it is for all of us? There's that one you circle back to for home. This morning, the young couple scavenges seeds on the patio. She is thickening with eggs. Their minds are busy with sticks the perfect size, tufts of fluff like dandelion and other pieces of soft. He steps aside for her so she can eat. Then we watch him fill his beak, walk tenderly to her, and kiss her with seed. The sacred world lifts up its head to notice. We are double, triple blessed. So that was Redbird Love by Joy Harjo. In terms of analysis, there is a fair bit to talk about with this poem. In terms of narrative, I think it's pretty straightforward. The narrator sees birds apparently outside of if you're taking it literally, they see birds outside of their house at different stages of those birds' lives. Like a little tiny baby bird that is very beautiful. It's a girl bird, and the bird struts its stuff in the bird parade, whatever that happens to mean. And then other birds notice this bird, and then the bird girl takes a bird boy. They become bird betrothed, and then they have a bird baby. And it's remarked that it is a very beautiful sort of occasion. So very interesting narrative, and I'll talk more about that in a few moments. But in terms of sort of like themes here, I think it's easy to see that the narrator is anthropomorphizing the birds in this story. The birds don't have these like families like humans do. Although they do raise them and whatnot. The birds don't strut their stuff in a bird parade in the same way that humans do. They do kind of mate and attract mates, but it's not that similar to humans. And then they don't form relationships where it seems like they live together and whatnot. Seems a little bit of an unusual way to phrase it. So she's anthropomorphizing the birds in a way that kind of resembles humans, but also is close enough to birds that you maybe won't think twice about it. But I am thinking twice about it. And so maybe like an interpretation of this is that the narrator's the narrator's daughter has left the home, and she's now considering what that means for her, like considering the life of the daughter in terms of the experience of the bird, and showing the similarities between nature and humans. So maybe like she has her daughter on her mind, and so she's feeling sentimental and putting emotions, putting thoughts and whatnot on the birds that maybe won't be there. That's one way to consider it. I think it's very interesting if you phrase it that way. If you think of the poem that way. But again, we see more mother-daughter relationships here. I don't think it was intentional of me, but last week's poem by Kathy Song, the youngest daughter, was about mother-daughter relationships too, although this one seems to focus on the mother reflecting on how her daughter turned out, and seems to be a bit more positive. And then you see at the end of the poem, noting that the sacred world lifts up its head to notice we are double, triple blessed. The narrator and Joy Harjo herself kind of noting that the sacred world is noting such a beautiful thing. The spirits are feeling what's going on here, and it's we're all better off for having experienced or knowing that such an experience goes on in the world. So a bit of optimism in this poem, and noting how it connects everything. You got nature, you got humanity, and you got the spirit world as well. So a very beautiful poem. And so that was Redbird Love by Joy Harjo. There's probably something that I feel that I missed not being connected to indigenous cultures in the way that Joy Harjo is. So if you feel that I missed something there, let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, let's just have a conversation about the poem or my review here. Pretty high quality. I'm going to put a link to it in the description. Let me know your thoughts as well. Otherwise, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so that more people can find out about this poem or this poet if they do not already know. If you followed this channel for some time, you probably heard about Joy Harjo once or twice. And until then, I wish you the best of luck in your weird and motherly sort of relationship. Farewell.